Hello, everyone, and welcome to our today's webinar. So excited to see you today with us. My name is Alina, and I'm an Education USA advisor, which is monthly with you with interesting webinars. And if you have been at our last webinar, you already know that this month will focus on AI. We have invitees with whom we already had a webinar, but I would like to remind you a very important thing, that the applications and the recruitment process for CCC Competitive College Club is still going on. So please don't forget about that for all the students who want to prepare for their bachelor degree, for their application for their bachelor degree. You have this possibility to do that now by 31st of December. So please scan the QR code you are seeing now on your screen. That will redirect you to our website, and you will be able to find the application for Competitive College Club. Highly encouraging you to apply for this program, because for sure this is going to be the key to your successful application. So yeah, join us. Great. So I'm going to move to the topic of our today's webinar, because I'm super excited about that. We have such an interesting presentation provided by St. John University. So we have Dr. Ryle Carroll and we have Sean Sloan, who has already been with us in a webinar about NCAA last month. So thank you so much, Sean, and thank you so much, Dr. Ryle, for joining us today. We're gonna have to add them on the screen. Just one moment. I don't see them. Great. Hi. I think I will just give you the opportunity both to introduce yourself, and then we can just move to the presentation that Dr. Ryle prepared for us.
Sure. Alina, thank you for having us. We really appreciate it. It's good to be back on your webinars. My name is Sean Sloan. I'm a recruitment manager with St. John's University, and I'm happy to be here again today.
And I'm Dr. Ryle Carroll. Super excited to be here and tell you more about what's going on in AI and marketing and answer any questions you might have.
Great. Thank you so much. Okay, then we will leave Dr. Ryle to do his magic, and we'll put the presentation on the screen then.
Is the presentation? Okay, there you go. So again, thank you for having me. I'm excited to talk to you guys about marketing in the age of AI and kind of maybe explain kind of where we are in this process because it is a new technology, and maybe alleviate some anxiety some people might have, and maybe create new ones for others that don't already have some anxiety around AI and what that is going to mean in the future. So if we go to the next slide. So there are some people who are talking about kind of the doom and gloom of AI in marketing, and the fact that, 60% of people believe that they have some fear about AI is coming for their job. If we go to the next slide. We also have people who, and you'll hear this a lot, not just within the marketing industry, but in other industries, that you don't have much to worry about. It's not that AI is going to come for your job. It's that people who understand how to use AI are going to be the ones who are going to be taking your job. And so I actually believe it's a mixture of both. When people say this statement, I think they're a little misleading, because AI can do, the equivalent of work of, 5 to 10 people. And so, yes, there are going to be people, let's say there's a department of 30 now at a major marketing firm. I do believe moving forward, the job of those 30 are going to be condensed into the job of maybe 6. And those 6 people are going to be using AI to then make up for the 24 people who are no longer there. And so I do believe that understanding AI is going to be a very important skill set that people are going to need moving forward, especially in marketing. And so if we go to the next slide. And so again, why are we so, why are we talking about AI for an entire month in this programming? It's because of the power that we have seen with AI to do repetitive tasks, to do and analyze large scale data sets and be able to find the insights pretty quickly, way faster than human could, and to be honest, sometimes way more accurately. If we go to the next slide. So here are some stats just from recent articles talking about what's going to happen within AI, right? I believe it's 78% of companies have committed to daily use of AI. And when we talk about the use of AI, a lot of this isn't necessarily that they are using the same ChatGPT that you use, or Gemini from Google, or Claude from Anthropic. What it is there are AI preset within a lot of applications that a lot of marketers already use, whether that be managing social media or managing your consumer database. There is baked in, when you buy that software, AI. And so when you see some of these stats, they're not talking about, hey, I'm using AI the way you might use it to answer questions in your life. It's more that it's already baked into the software and is giving them insights. And so when you see stats like the fact that AI is already in a lot of these companies, it's because they're using this software that already has AI baked in. And so we're going to see more and more of that in the coming years. And so when I say you want to understand AI, you want to be versed in AI, it might be that you just need to understand this software. You need to understand how to use the particular platforms that a company in marketing might be using. If we go to the next slide. And so there is this, use of AI to, again, do the work that might have been entry-level work in the past. It might have taken a lot more people. And so we're seeing people use AI to create content, to optimize, a process that they use on a daily basis. And of course, using it for analytics as well. If we go to the next slide. So here is kind of the big, oh no, all these jobs are going to be gone, kind of stats that are out there. And I actually, to be honest, I believe that this is talking about current jobs. Now, I do believe there's going to be some new jobs that aren't currently taking place, much the way when social media became a big thing. There weren't social media jobs within a marketing agency or within a marketing department, and now there are. And so much like that, I believe there's going to be AI focused people. So when they say these jobs are going to go away, they are going to go away. Some of them are going to be replaced, but a lot of them are going to disappear. And I actually think this number is a little small compared to what I actually believe will be the end result. If we go to the next slide. And so what are the key areas that marketing is using AI? Well, in the first one, it's really around, being able to, customize and personalize at scale, right? Being able to, a customer comes to your website, they're a regular customer of yours. You understand all in real time, all of their past transactions. You understand what their, likes and dislikes are, what their past history is with your company. And you're then being able to, at scale, in real time, personalize an offer for them. The other way is looking at large databases and being able to predict and do analysis and be able to look at your database and say, here are the top 10%. We need to focus on those. These are the people who, the next 20%, they're flight risk for our company. We need to make sure that we're doing the extra mile for them so they don't go to a competitor. And then the last part is what we call content creation. And this is the videos you see. It might be the emails, generating multiple emails for your customers. It might be your social media posts. This is the content creation. So we really have mass personalization in real time. We then have the analytics around understanding, predicting people's future behavior based off of past information about that customer or our customers in general, and then content creation. Okay, we go to the next slide. And so in here, I have some software that, as I mentioned before, when I say people are using AI, it's not that they're using the same kind of software that we think about in our daily lives. It's baked in. And so, within Salesforce, they have their Einstein. Within all of these other, platforms, you can see, Gemini has their video software. Canva has their software. And so when you start thinking through HubSpot, all of these softwares have AI baked in. And so when you think about, hey, how do I make sure that I'm versed in AI when I go to the job market? Here are some softwares that you might want to, go on LinkedIn Learning and get your certificate in Salesforce Einstein. You can do that, and within a couple hours, you've just made yourself more marketable, especially in the cutting edge, area of AI that some of these companies might not have anybody who has taken that step already on staff. And so you can right away, make yourself useful. So if we go to the next slide. And so when I talk about personalization at scale, what I want to do is kind of go through how this has already taken place, some case studies, so you can kind of see how companies are able to use this. If we go to the next slide. And so during COVID, Snap Travel leaned into AI. And again, you got to think about, this was way before AI, before ChatGPT came out with their, initial allowing the public to play with it. And so they used AI, and what they found was they were able to upsell people on their travel experience. So they came into their website looking for a hotel, and they were able to give them a more personalized experience and find, other options for that travel experience, whether it be a restaurant, a rental car, all of these things. And so they were able to kind of grow the amount of work they did with their customers by using AI, and AI was successfully recommending different aspects of the travel experience that catered to that individual. Okay, go to the next slide. We also can see this was done within a wellness app. There's an app called Calm that is the number one wellness, whether it be taking you through meditation and mindfulness, all of these things. And they were able to, Calm was able to use AI, again, to personalize the experience, understand that the person using the app on a regular basis for meditation, and now might recommend other aspects that the app offers to that individual that made their experience better. Next slide. And so, I have sprinkled in here some quotes periodically from industry people, and one of the things people say, and again, trying to make people feel a little better about AI is, AI is giving marketers back their most valuable asset, which is time, right? The idea that you can spend more time thinking about the project, more time on the creative, more time brainstorming, because the actual execution is being done by AI. The stuff that, you have to get your hands dirty, now AI can take care of that, and you can do the mental tasks that marketers really, a lot of times appreciate and want to do, and not the day-to-day routine stuff. We'll go to the next slide. And so, again, the next kind of thing that we talked about personalization. We can now talk about the predictive analytics part, right? And how AI can really help and allow people to gain insights that they might not have seen before. Look at big data, be able to figure out who the better customer might be, who might be at risk. We go to the next slide. And so Spectrum, which is kind of, I believe there's probably like O2 or mobile, Virgin Mobile might be similar companies in Europe, where they have internet, they have cable, they have all sorts of offerings that and wireless. And so what Spectrum was able to do was they were able to look at their analytics and all of their data of their customers, and then work with other clients who were looking to advertise maybe on their streaming platform, but then they were able to find other avenues for them to advertise through some of their other platforms, right? So this is what's called media planning. And so Spectrum was able to do a more efficient media plan using the AI research. We'll go to the next slide. Meta, and I think this is, where a lot of people get very nervous. Meta has come out that in 2026, they're going to allow you to you offer them a brief description of your product, an image that you'd like to use of your product and of your brand, and then they will handle all of the content creation, all of the strategy. And what they're doing is they're using the algorithm to find out. They might do a bunch of what they call A/B testing, where they come up with and mock up a couple different ideas for your ad, different strategies, different creative, and then they go out and try this stuff and do an experiment, and then the stuff that is working, they then ramp up. And so you give them a budget. So all you're going to do as a small business or a large business, give them images, give them logos, give them a brief description of what your product does and who you think the target might be, and they will go out and create this entire campaign. This could put in jeopardy a lot of small marketing boutique firms that do this kind of work, because if AI is able to do this at scale and Meta is able to do this without having a large group of people working on this and just using AI, that becomes pretty scary for some of these smaller marketing firms. Next slide. And so the last one we're talking about is, AI-driven content creation. So this is the videos you see where someone just types out, I want a video of a female sipping coffee, interacting with a colleague. And it goes off and creates that for you. And so we're seeing more of that within marketing, whether that be an actual commercial that is run on TV, commercials you're seeing on YouTube, or it's images you're seeing on Instagram. It's images that are being posted on other platforms, TikTok, or is it just the text? And if this is email marketing, this is anything that you're going to see on some other social medias. So if we go to the next slide. Again, here's a quote: 1/3 of all digital videos in 2025 are either created or enhanced using AI. I believe that that's a small number based off of what I'm seeing in social media. I think it's a larger number, and I think it's only going to continue to grow, right? They say it's going to be 40% of all videos you're going to see in 2026. I believe it's probably going to be even farther. Next slide, if you could. And so again, just talking about, this is how the creative is being generated using AI. We'll go to the next slide. Here are some case studies. Popeyes, which is a fast food chicken chain here in the US, they created an entire advertisement that they then ran, showing whether they called it a battle rap, right? Because McDonald's came up with their own rap. And so this was a kind of cool play on words. And so it was humans interacting with these kind of creatures that they created using AI. I will be putting, make sure we have links to some of these. These are commercials you can see on YouTube. And so you'll be able to see some of these AI generated content. Go to the next slide. Kashi, which is the website where you can go and make wagers on predictions, the prediction market. They actually ran a fully AI generated commercial during the NBA. Now, the backlash on this commercial wasn't so bad because it was new and innovative and people were interested to see how it goes. But I will say that from talking to my students and hearing things within industry, that there is some backlash on the use of AI in videos, where there's this idea, it's called uncanny valley, where you can tell something's off, but you can't tell exactly why it's off. Can't explain why that video doesn't look real or that person doesn't look real, but they just don't. And so you're trying to understand what that is. And so that these kind of videos, sometimes these commercials cannot be as well received as I think they want to be. Go to the next slide. Coca-Cola did a retro advertisement, a year and a half ago now for the holidays. And that's another example of AI. If we go to the next slide. And then I think this is actually an interesting one where Lidl, I'm probably saying that wrong, did a really cool campaign where they used their color scheme to generate potential items they might sell in their store. And so people got to go to their website, and this is a really cool video. If you, I'll make sure that it's shared, where they show all the millions of customer generated content, and then people who voted on what item they actually should sell at their store. And so that's a really cool one. We go to the next slide. H&M just did this whole layout where they announced their whole collection, and none of the models modeling their clothes are actual real. They're all AI generated. And so that's another interesting use of AI here. Next commercial, or next slide, please. And so what are some opportunities and challenges? You struggle with what is going to be, how things are going to be received by the customers. You also struggle with, where are you getting this data? How ethical is this? And I think if we go to the next slide, that's one of the things I talk about, right? The ethics, understanding how the AI models are generated, making sure you're understanding what is copyrighted, what is fair use, and being, very careful with what you're using. We go to the next slide. And so I have some strategies here, understanding about when you're using AI, be transparent about it, making sure that you understand where the model is getting its information so that you're not showing biased accounts. And so making sure, I think using AI kind of, I want to say to enhance, I think is a good strategy as opposed to fully create. If we go to the next slide. And this is where I was talking about bias and misinformation. The idea of using AI to generate and create controversy and create, false videos, that I think obviously is something you want to steer clear of. If we go to the next slide. And so when I talk about the backlash, there have been different people who have tried to use AI and it's come off negative. Will Smith, the artist, was going on tour and sent out a video where it was supposed to be him in the crowd interacting at one of his concerts, and really it was AI generated, and people, really got upset with the fact that he was falsely showing what looked like a live concert, and it was really AI generated. We'll go to the next slide. But as I said, when you use it, separately, as a way to enhance your thing, it can be very useful. And I think what's interesting is Google has now done multiple commercials where instead of using what looks like, a Pixar related some kind of animation, they've used AI to generate that animation. And so those have been very well received because it's not trying to mimic an actual human. It's not trying to make you believe you're interacting or you're seeing a real person doing some behavior. Instead, it's kind of like a claymation or an animation. And those people don't have any issue with. We go to the next slide. Again, this is the only thing AI can't do is tell you what it's like to be a human. The most important thing, and that's the most important thing in marketing. Again, we're going back to that other quote where, as a marketer, using AI is giving you back your time, because that's the most important thing. And so understanding that within marketing, creativity, originality are so important. And so those are the things that you can really do, and AI can enhance that. If we go to the next slide. So what can you do? What, as a student, should you be thinking about? One, you should definitely understand big data, understand analytics behind that, so that you can understand what AI is doing and how it's working in the background. Creating, technical proficiency. So making sure you're up on these softwares, making sure that you understand how they work, how the AI is integrated, and going back to this human aspect, right? In marketing, it's creativity, it's originality. So harnessing that, thinking about, this is what I'm adding to this conversation. This is what I can do, is be creative. I can understand what has worked in the past with certain audiences, and how do I make sure that I'm tapping into that? We go into the next slide. So again, going back, there's going to be opportunities out there, especially for people who are aware of AI, able to use AI, and using AI effectively. Go to the next slide. As I mentioned before, I do believe there's going to be, the same way there weren't social media jobs within marketing firms, I believe there's going to be AI related jobs within firms that don't exist now. So you can get, it's not that all of these jobs are going to go away. You can definitely make yourself very, marketable by knowing more about AI. Go to the next slide. And so how do we go about this, right? You can do things like LinkedIn Learning. I believe that's a really good asset for people. There are other, you can start following thought leaders, understand what is going on in the world and the industry that you're going to try to go into. You can join webinars like you're doing today. You can, again, look for ways that you can learn software. But then I think one of the most important parts is actually using it. It's great to take a class and understand how to use Einstein on Salesforce, but unless you're actually trying to do something, I don't believe you get the full knowledge of it. And so I always recommend, and I do this myself, I might create something using AI, see where the problems lie, understand where the limitations are, kind of iterate it, and really hone that skill. And so trial and error, I believe, is a really important thing too. Go to the next slide. Future of marketing is not just technology, it's leveraging AI to create meaningful connections that result in, impact for your business. Next slide. And that's all I have. And now I believe Sean is going to tell you a little bit about St. John's, and then we're going to get into the question section of this webinar.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Carroll. That was really interesting for me as well. I think we are all interested in this topic, no matter what our field is. We're all going to be implementing some sort of AI, so I really appreciate that. If you all listening today want to learn more from Professor Carroll and wonderful faculty like him at St. John's University, I'm just briefly, 5 minutes, I'm going to tell you about our mission process and the scholarship opportunities. So welcome to St. John's. Dr. Carroll is a tenured professor at our main campus in Queens, New York. Let's move on to the next slide. We're a private Catholic Vincentian university that focuses on our metropolitan and global value and character. Our main campus is in New York City, and we do have study abroad opportunities and campuses around the world. Next slide. So yeah, the New York City subway map. We also have a small campus just for some of our business students in Manhattan. But again, the main campus is in Queens, New York. That is part of New York City. We have small campuses and locations in these locations in Europe as well. Next slide. St. John's by the numbers. We're a large sports school with 17 Division I sports teams. If you were with us last month, you heard all about sports eligibility and scholarships. We're a medium large size institution with about 20,000 students currently enrolled, extremely diverse in terms of students coming from all over the world, with over 120 countries currently represented. And while we have a large student body, our student to faculty ratio is quite good. So for every 16 students, we have one professor. Next slide. St. John's is a large liberal arts university broken down into these 5 colleges. We're most known for our Tobin College of Business. So Dr. Carroll is a professor with our Tobin College of Business. We're also very highly known for our College of Pharmacy and Health Sciences. So those are probably our most popular and most well-known programs, but we have over 100 different undergraduate programs for students to choose from. Next slide. AI is being implemented into more and more of our programs. Learning about AI, how it's going to affect the field that you're looking to work in. Some of our programs also work on robotics. We also have an innovation hub for all of our students, primarily for the business students, but for students looking to start their own businesses. Our application, so this is our undergraduate application checklist. The requirements, if you're looking to apply to a bachelor's program, we need an online application. It is free of charge. We need to see 4 years of your high school transcripts leading up to graduation. So even if your schooling is only 2 or 3 years, we still need to see 4. If the transcripts are not originally produced in English, we need official English translation. And if in your country, you're required to take a national examination to enter university in your home country, we would require that exam as well. I think for most of the countries on this call, that would not apply, but for some it might. We do not require the SAT or ACT, but if you do not submit it, we'll need one of the English proficiency tests. In other words, we just need one of these exams, SAT, ACT, or one of the English proficiency tests listed here from international students. There are some exceptions. We can sometimes waive all of the exams if your schooling's been done all in English. Transfer applications are similar, but we do need what's called a NACES accredited foreign transcript evaluation for your university transcripts. High school transcripts we can convert and deal with on our own, but university transcripts from other countries need to be evaluated by one of these NACES accredited organizations, by a third party. Next slide. The graduate application, so for those of you looking to apply to one of our master's programs, it requires an online application. There is a small fee to apply. We do need transcripts from all of the institutions that you've attended, a resume, and a statement of professional goals, depending on the program, between 1 and 5 letters of recommendation. Some programs require the GRE exam and some do not. Again, some programs might require writing samples. For all applications, and I think this is very important, again, back to this NACES accredited foreign transcript evaluation, like for undergraduate transfer applications, all graduate program applications would require this transcript evaluation from a third party. And that third party has to be NACES member or NACES accredited. They will also need to see English proficiency for graduate applications. Next slide. And I don't want to take up too much time because we want to leave time for your questions. So let's move on to the next slide. This is just more information about those NACES evaluations. The tuition for our bachelor's programs is currently the top right number, $53,980 per year. However, all accepted international students receive large scholarship offers. So again, if you are admitted and our application is free of charge, tuition will come down drastically, about half on average. Moving on to the next slide. And then graduate tuition is expressed per credit, but what you should know is that most of our graduate programs, not all, but most, are between about 30 and 40 credits, roughly. The cost of most of our graduate programs for the full program, which is typically about 1.5 to 2 years, would be about $55,000 to $60,000. Next slide. We have lots of scholarships available. The merit-based scholarship, which I said for bachelor's programs, is automatic with your application. That averages half tuition, as I said. And then there are a bunch of other scholarships which you can apply for separately. Next slide. Graduate scholarships are awarded based on the student's academic ability, college, and program of study. They range drastically per program, so it's not worth getting into the specific amounts, but it is interesting. The last bullet's on this slide that applicants to our graduate programs can also apply for endowed and external scholarships, but also assistantships and fellowships at St. John's University, which cover partial tuition and pay salary or stipend as well. And I think that's all I have. So thank you so much for your time. And I think we could just open it up for Q&A now.
Yes, thank you so much. Very, very exciting. I already see a bunch of questions that we have in the chat. I'm so happy that we have such a debate there and a lot of questions from the people who are watching us now. Thank you so much, Professor Ryle. I really enjoyed the presentation, and eventually I will also have some questions about how you are implementing that within the courses that you are teaching your students for your course. So let's start with the questions that we got here. I think this is more like a comment, but I'm interested also about your opinion, because I think a lot of students and a lot of people nowadays would have the same opinion. Actually, AI is vital, but sometimes it is capable to make mistakes. What do you think?
Yeah, no, that is a large thing that's part of the process, the reasons that I think you need to be very versed in understanding how the content is being generated and being able to iterate with AI, being able to say, no, that isn't correct. I know that that's not right. And working through that. Now, I will say the software where I'm talking about, like a Salesforce has Einstein. They have worked through a lot of those bugs. And I will also say AI has gotten a lot better with every generation. And one of the things that I think I don't want to put it back on the user, but I will say that because AI has such an understanding of the vast universe, and you have a very limited, maybe narrow window, when you're asking it a question, it's to some degree guessing at what that narrow lens that you're looking at the problem. And so sometimes it's about the question you're asking and making sure that you have fine-tuned that question. And so one of the things that I think is fascinating that a colleague of mine has started doing, and I've started as well, is instead of just, let's say I want AI to help me generate a presentation. Okay. Instead of just saying, hey, I want to create a presentation on X. Can you help me? I ask AI and I say, I want to create a presentation on AI. Can you ask me a lot of questions to narrow that down so that I can create the perfect prompt to give to AI so that it will then give me the presentation I want? It's more than delighted to do that. And it will now give you 20 questions that you have to answer that are things you might not have even thought of. And a lot of times you can say, I don't know, right? And now that's giving insight into the AI that, okay, this person doesn't want to talk about this aspect because they don't even know about it. And so understanding that and using AI to create the better prompt will then, I think, enhance the output that you eventually get, and you will see less errors. The other thing I will say is a lot of these softwares, instead of it just being general AI, right? So I might create a bot for my class, right? And so I give it, here's the textbook that we're using, here's all the articles, and now I want you to focus on this information. When I ask you a question, I want you to, yes, you're going to have to come back and you're going to reference other things outside of that. But I want 80% of the thought process to be looking at the content that I gave you and focusing on the answer from the content that I gave you. Hopefully that helps.
For sure. I really like that one with the prompt and with that 20 questions. I think I'll use that for sure.
Yeah, no, it's really good. And if you use Gemini, I believe it's Gemini. Oh, no, I guess it's in ChatGPT. They have what's called deep research, and that's what it does. Before it goes out and crawls the web to try to find the answer for you, it asks you 10 questions or so to make sure it like, let me get this straight. You want to know this. What is the time frame you want? How far back do you want? Do you want publicly traded companies or all companies? Do you want case study? And it starts asking you all the things because, again, it's got a vast universe of answers for you, and you might have a very specific thing in mind.
Great, thank you. Then the next question: could you clarify about AI generation risks? And I think you've mentioned some of them, but if we can briefly maybe just.
I would say the risk, what we just talked about, right? There's a risk of it being just completely made up, right? And there's a lot of people who will point to AI is not great because look, here's a case study or a story in the news about a lawyer using it and made up cases. Again, I think a lot of that was happening early on, and it's kind of grown out of that with the more advanced models. But I also, again, going back to making sure you're asking the question that you want. But then additional risks, I think, come into play when we look at where is the content that this AI is generating its information off of, right? And so making sure it's not biased. Or, I recently was heard that one of the more recent models for ChatGPT was trained on Reddit. And we can, and if you haven't used Reddit or, a Twitter, social media sometimes cannot be the best. I don't want that to be what people think our society interacts like, right? And so being careful of, if it might skew in a more aggressive manner and not the way you want. The other risks are just the human backlash, whether you say, hey, we just, here's a commercial that we think is targeting towards these people, and they're turned off by the use of AI to generate people, right? They're like, you're a big company. Why aren't you hiring real actors and doing a real photo, a real shoot to make this commercial? And so there can be this backlash against AI, but then also that uncanny valley where it feels like it's not real. And I don't know why, but I just don't like it because it doesn't feel real to me.
Okay, thank you. The next question, which is a tricky one, I think. What AI apps would you like to recommend for cheating, advertising, creating videos, and etc.?
I would say that all of them, the big, so you have Claude through Anthropic. I'd say there's the big three, right? So you got Claude through Anthropic, you've got Gemini through Google, and you've got OpenAI's ChatGPT. I would say they are to some degree converging. And so, when Gemini came out with a particular feature, OpenAI came out with a very similar one. So I will say, if you read any articles, the recent drop of Gemini, actually one of the initial investors at ChatGPT and OpenAI actually posted a tweet on social media that he has been using ChatGPT even before it was released to the public every day. And the new Google Gemini version of AI was more powerful than anything he's seen, and he was switching. And he's an investor in OpenAI. And so I do believe every new wave, you're seeing ChatGPT and Sam Altman say that they have to double down. He called it a code red, that they need to up their compute power and what they're doing with their AI to compete with Gemini. And so I don't think you can go necessarily wrong with any of them. And I guess my answer would be, I would learn all three of them. Anthropic is great for coding. Same with Gemini. AI, ChatGPT, not so great. Each one of them, it's kind of like any kind of company. They might have, here's what they do the best and how they're differentiated. And so depending on what you're looking at to do, you might I use all three. So there's different tasks I have for ChatGPT, different things I go to Gemini for, and different things I go to Claude for. And so understanding what ones are best at certain applications, that would be my advice. There isn't a blanket one.
Okay, that's a great advice. Okay, good. I think that question is for Sean. Can you tell us more about the enrolling process? And I suppose that's about undergraduate.
Sure. I'm going to talk about our undergraduate application and enrollment process. So typically students would apply during their last year of high school. So about this time of year, actually, by about December of your final year of high school, you're applying. You can also apply after graduation. And then, as I said during the presentation, the application is quite straightforward. We just need to see 4 years of your high school transcripts leading up to graduation with official English translations. And then we'll need to see an English proficiency score. And we can accept the SAT exam for that, but SAT is not required. So we just need one, either the SAT or an English proficiency exam. And that's pretty much it. And then in terms of enrollment, once your application is complete, you'll receive an admission decision within approximately 2 weeks. It's very quick. The acceptance letter, should you be accepted, will state your scholarship offer. As I mentioned, all international admitted students receive scholarship. And so then from there, you just need to make an enrollment deposit of $300 by May 1st. And then we have an office that assists international students with the visa process. So the steps that come after enrollment will assist you with that as well.
Thank you. That was super helpful. Okay. The next one I think is for Dr. Royal. Which AI detector are you using most, and which one you would recommend for students? I think you've recommended already 3 of them.
I will say that I don't use an AI detector. I have actually revamped all my courses to be AI proof, if you will. And so I've gone to more skill based and implementation based, where I encourage students to use AI, because this is the what is going to happen. And I would also say that AI detectors are good at detecting basic AI, but there's such easy ways to avoid the detector. If you misspell a word periodically, you put a comma in a wrong place, AI will say, well, it's not perfect, so it's most likely. But now they've gotten to the point where they do almost sentence by sentence, and it will tell you, like, this phrase is AI generated. The other thing you can do is, if you create your own bot with your own writing style, by giving it all of your past writings, it will then learn how to write like you, which will then be undetectable in AI, because AI doesn't write like you used to write. And so so I don't use an AI detector. I think, and I wouldn't encourage any teachers or faculty to use AI detectors, because they're flawed, and it's really difficult to detect and use.
Okay, that's an interesting answer, because I think anyone would be nowadays talking about having a detector and not using that for their application or for something specifically, their coursework or something like that. That's an interesting answer. Okay, one more question here. Could you please help me decide with my career decision in terms of probability of taking AI the job? Should I pursue medicine or marketing? I like them both equally. I think that's like the future career opportunities. What do you think?
My advice, and I have my son is in high school now, and he's thinking about where does he want to go. And then I have obviously family, friends, and relatives. When they ask me about these types of things, I think that healthcare is going to, for sure, be a career that is going to be enhanced by AI, but we're always going to want the human touch too. And so I think those types of careers, more vocational, if you will. So the things that you physically are creating or making are going to be the careers that are a little more AI proof. And if I was, someone was super passionate about marketing, my advice would be also in that same vein, become kind of entrepreneurial, have an entrepreneurial mindset, and have that kind of background. And you can take entrepreneurial type majors and maybe minor in marketing, where you're learning the skill sets to run a business. How do you take a project and take it to completion, and what are the steps? I do think that those are important skill sets that, even as the world changes around AI within marketing or some of these other industries, having that knowledge of how do you take an idea to completion, I think is really powerful and going to outlast anything that AI might disrupt. And so that would be my recommendation, would be hands-on, practical applications. I do believe one podcast that I listened to had one of the founders of AI, and this question was posed to them. What happens when all AI eliminates thousands and tens of thousands of jobs? What happens? And his answer was, if we could shift all of those, we have an aging population. If we could shift all of those to the medical area, I think we'd be a better world and better society. And so maybe AI is taking some of the entry level or the thought process, and maybe we're becoming more humane and more personal and interacting with people and giving that human touch. And that's what's those jobs are, so any job that requires kind of a human touch, I think is going to be AI proof moving forward.
That's a good one. Thank you. Thank you so much. And the last question we have in the chat is how to use AI correctly. Like, I know that using AI is not that good, but using AI for doing some project, it saves so much time.
Yeah, I would go back to understanding what they can do. I think I would challenge that idea that AI is not that good. Again, if you use AI to create the prompt to then have it do what you want, I think you'll be blown away by what it can do. And I would be thinking about, issues that might be time consuming that it might be very helpful at. And so those are the things that I try to use AI for. Is I know could take me the next 2 hours to perform. I wonder if AI could help me do this in the next 5 minutes. And usually it does. And so that's where I would be thinking about using AI. I would also, I like using AI to brainstorm. And so I'm thinking about this. Can you give me, 5 different ways of thinking about this? And I would say I already came up with maybe 3 of those, but it comes up with another 2 that I hadn't thought about. And then the last thing is I have it check. Like, I might send an email to a student, or I might create an assignment and say, okay, imagine you're one of my students who's in an undergrad class. What's not clear here? And then it might say, well, it's unclear if you want them to do this or that. And so it gives me another set of eyes that and I think a lot of people feel this way. You're so into your own thing that you don't see the problems or issues with it. Whereas it's so clear to somebody else because they haven't been working on it for hours. And so that's another way I would use AI.
Okay, that's a great one. Thank you so much. It's a great tip. Okay, good. So I think we are done with all the questions that we got in the chat. Thank you so much for answering all of those and covering all of those. I just saw a question there if this video will still be. Yes, it's going to be recorded on our main YouTube page, on Education USA virtual page. So please go back after this will finish and you can see the whole presentation. And if you would like to see if you would like us to send you the PDF version of the presentation, if Dr. Ryle agrees with that, we can eventually send that to your email. Just let us know, write us an email, we can do that for you. Good. So thank you so much both for presenting. Thank you so much for this important information that you have shared with us. I really like this topic and I think that's super actual for our students. And yes, we still have one more webinar, by the way, on tomorrow. So yes, please join us. And you already have seen our agenda for January. We're going to have a lot of success stories of the students who are currently studying in the US and they are from our region. So please join us and register for those also. And thank you so much for attending us today. Thank you so much for being so active and addressing your questions. I really hope you got the answer that you wanted. Yeah, I wish you everyone a great evening and you have a great day, Sean and Dr. Ryle.
Thank you so much. Much appreciated.
Thanks again. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.